Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Today's IG Live is going to be a bit of a unique topic as we're going to touch upon intuition. Many of us get gut instincts, and then more times than not, these feelings are correct. The reason why we're such big fans of intuition because that many of us feel deep down that we need to change our habits. The product we use on a daily basis aren't sustainable for the planet or for our own bodies. And that's why we're really excited to be joined today by Hafsa Khan, the Mystic Med. And as we know, the more we listen to our gut, the better decisions we might make. Hafsa lives in Hong Kong and provides spiritual counseling and clarity through Sufism. We're going to discuss intuition, how to develop its influence on our nervous system, and then so much more. I'm going to check. Here you are.
Hello.
Hi, Hafsa. How are you?
How are you? I'm good. Good. Thank you. Oh, headphones not working. I'm good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Good. I hope it's not cutting into lunch. I think it's about 12 p.m. in Hong Kong.
Yeah, 11. Actually, it was an hour less than before, I think, because of
Right.
the time change. Yeah. So
Hong
it's
Kong is
going to be
my
12.
Hong Kong is one of my favorite cities. I love Hong Kong.
Oh, amazing. What was the last time you came?
Before the pandemic. I
Ah,
can't wait
yes.
to go back for all the good food.
Definitely. It'll be good to see you in person.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you became a spiritual counselor.
Ooh, so it all began in 2005, where I started my journey. I was actually in a completely different industry before this. I was in the music industry for 10 years. So always been an artist at heart, but being in the industry, I experienced a lot of toxicity, and I started to understand that that sort of path didn't really align with what I truly felt within my heart as the intuition that I was feeling sort of guided me through this process of life. And the one question I kept asking myself every day was, how am I contributing to society and how am I helping create a better environment for everyone that lives on this planet? And that question just kept arising every day. And so one day I just decided to do something about it and really dive into aspects of alternative medicine. So the first thing I got into yoga because at that time yoga was really big. And so did my whole teacher training. But just yoga within itself didn't resonate. So I needed to know more. So I dived into energy medicine because that fascinated me and that started to trend. I'm like, okay, what is this? But I still felt like, oh, that's not enough. I need to understand the human system and how that works. And so I dived into alternative medicine. And within the realm of alternative medicine, it was basically like being a GP for alternative medicine. So you dived into hundreds of different variations of alternative medicine. But I specialized in Tibetan medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, Unani, which is Islamic medicine, and energy medicine. And then it's like, well, this is still not enough. I need to not understand the biological and physiological aspect of the human. I want to understand how the mind works and how everything is joined together to create one system. Mm-hmm. So I dived into counseling and psychotherapy and mindfulness and sort of understanding our thought processes and how they affect our body's physical system when things happen in our life. And so like I'm still on that journey in education as there's always new research that comes out and yeah, from then on it's just been uphill.
That is amazing. I was just going to say it's also all these different branches of alternative medicine. It seems that intuition and mindfulness and spirituality is something that really connects all of these different types.
Absolutely. I think there comes a point in one's life where they sit down when they're introspecting, which is that natural, innate sensation where you just want to connect to something external. And we all have that. And sometimes throughout life, we just get blocked by certain conditionings that we've been taught since we were a kid to not believe in certain things. And that we don't dive into those realms, but we always have that sensation with that feeling within us to want to connect to something external. And
Absolutely. I mentioned in the intro that you actually provide spiritual counseling and clarity through Sufism. So what is Sufism?
Yes.
Because I think for many people who have not heard this term. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So I guess that would be going through that journey of all the things that I wanted to learn. Spirituality was the last one because I felt that that was sort of the icing on the cake. Once you understand the human conditioning, now you need to understand what is beyond that. And so I used my faith, which is I'm a Sufi Muslim, and Sufism is very close to similar to Buddhist philosophy in the sense that it dives into aspects of mysticism. So Sufism is also known as tasawwuf, which literally translates to Sufism or mystics within Islam. And it has a wide meaning, which includes knowing yourself, gaining knowledge, seeking soul relations with the divine, connecting with the divine, as I said before. And it's a path of inner transformation that seeks to bring each individual closer to the divine. It offers a way to cultivate deeper awareness, love, peace within ourselves and in the world. So Sufi spirituality is a path of love and peace and compassion and understanding. So very similar to Buddhist philosophy in a sense. And how we treat others as well. It's very rooted within Muslim Sufi masters. One is Rumi, as you may know. Rumi is a very famous poet, but all of the texts that he would write about would be about that relationship with the beloved, and the beloved was the divine, the external, God, the source. And his journey was focused on that connection of life. In order to seek the love for life, you need to seek love for the creator that has created you. And through that divine love from the external, we live every day of our life projecting that to every living being and every living creature in the world. So it's a mutual respect for everything on this planet, including plants, animals, nature, and so on. And so, yeah, it focuses on the inner heart and the soul and the journey to spiritual enlightenment. Yeah.
Hearing you saying it, it makes me feel like really peaceful already. But explain.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we can take a step back because today we're talking about spirituality and intuition. So, like in your own words, what is spirituality?
Ooh, so it's different for everyone, but for me, it is an intangible yet powerful force that connects us to something greater than ourselves. It is that inner knowing and connection in an energy source that guides us along our life's journey. Spirituality is our connection to the divine. It's understanding and relating to the world around us that transcends cultural boundaries, that transcends something that we perceive to try and create logically. It's an awareness of our interconnectedness with all living things, spiritual aspect of our life and this whole universe. It is a practice of recognizing and honoring all aspects of our life. And what else can I add to this list? It is an exploration, I guess, of our true nature and the recognition of the interconnectedness with us and everything that is around us. And so,
oh, sorry.
yes, please go on. No, please go on.
I'm just gonna say, like, what about intuition?
So intuition, so I feel there's two aspects of intuition that people mistake. So there's an aspect of instinct, which sometimes get mistaken as intuition. So instinct would be that animalistic side. So when you know there's danger, you have the instinct, oh, there's danger coming towards me. You don't just deer in the headlights, you run. And then intuition is seen as like a deep knowing or a sense of inner guidance that arises from our soul or higher self. In other words, it is that innate ability that allows us to tap into our own wisdom and insight to make better decisions and to navigate through life. It represents that present wisdom that is within us. It doesn't focus on the past. It doesn't focus on the future. It's a very deep sense of knowing and trust. So it's a very authentic decision-making process that we have within us. But what tends to happen, again, with conditioning, it clouds our judgment. And I think we'll be talking about that a little bit later and how that affects the intuition process. But essentially, intuition is what everybody has within them. And so our path through life is to make that as clear as possible through different processes. Yeah.
So how can spirituality impact intuition and vice versa? And they're obviously connected.
Yeah, spirituality can help us to understand our intuition better and act upon it. It can give us a deeper understanding of life and our place in this realm, in this world. With this understanding, we can better tune into our intuition and use it to make better decisions. On the other hand, intuition can help us to cultivate a more spiritual outlook in life, connecting us to a higher power and helping us to understand our purpose in life. Intuition can also be used to help make us align with our higher purpose or align with more complex and unique individuals. It can it's more to understand the connection between two or more things in our space, and how to improve and how to grow ourselves, where we can sustain a life that includes everybody in it. So it's that, again, that deep intuition, that deep understanding that, yes, I belong in this realm with everybody else, but it's not only about me.
I love it. I love it. So it sounded like it's really important for one to work on his or her own intuition. So what is the first step for developing intuition?
So intuition can provide clarity to help make tough decisions. And one should understand that when we practice tuning into our intuition, we can gain insight into our thoughts and feelings. So this can help us make decisions that align with our values and goals. And it can help protect us from difficult situations. So paying attention and tuning in to the sensations in our body is one of the first steps. And it's a process because, as I said before, everything that we learn from our childhood until now will be a factor in how clear that intuition is. And what we need to distinguish is the difference between a idea that's coming up from an ego self that is trying to push you towards something you might not want to do, and you'll feel that's not resonating with you. You'll feel it within your body. So as soon as you come into a situation where you need to make a decision, the first thing you do is tune into how you are feeling. And we've all heard that gut sensation phrase. Yeah. So we just tune into, oh, how is that gut feeling? Or how is that heart feeling? Sometimes people they breathe faster during that time. So wait, I'm breathing fast. That's a signal that my body's reacting to something, potentially an event that has happened in the past, or a fear of some sort. And so we tune into that. And so we go, okay, this is what's happening now. Let's just be right in the present and go through the process of allowing that sensation to flow by. So that would be your first step in terms of developing the intuition. The second step.
Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
yes,
I was just going to ask, like, okay, first step, what's the second step?
Yeah. So once you've recognized where the emotion is coming from, now you can tap into where you're feeling the intuition and where is it guiding. You need to recognize, what is it trying to tell you? So sometimes things that guide you in a certain direction doesn't mean that the results are going to be exactly what you want. It might be what you need. It might not be what you like. And we always go for the things we like more than what we need. And the truth will come out with that intuitive aspect of you telling you, like, no, you have to do this instead of this.
That is so true.
So paying attention and asking yourself, is this? Yeah, it is. I hate to say it, but it is. And the third aspect is being honest with yourself, basically, in that sense. Yeah.
So you mentioned the egos earlier. So can our egos get in the way of intuition then?
Yes. By creating a false sense of importance and confidence that can override our inner voice. When we are too attached to our beliefs and opinions, it tends to ignore or dismiss any information that contradicts them. So this can prevent us from accessing our intuition, which is often a subtle requirement that opens up. Yeah. So additionally, though, our ego can create fear and doubt and anxiety, so which can cloud our judgment and our intuition. So we may become overly focused on external things that are going on. And so we want to, again, try and tune in to where the intuition is coming from. And it'll be very, very clear. Your sense of knowing and trust is what will guide you at the end of the day. And the more clear you are, the more you understand how to deal with certain situations. Then you experience what it's like to deal with those situations, and you know how to deal with it again. And it's just that process of practice and trial and error that will develop the aspect of intuition.
What about stress? How can stress, directly impact intuition?
Ooh, stress is also within the realm of stress. What happens is our body's nervous systems go into fight and flight response. Now, there's a difference between regular stress that everyone deals with and then chronic stress. And what's happening nowadays is people are going into chronic stress mode. And so when you're in a vibration of stress, there's usually an indication of fear that is rising up, not necessarily the fear that our bodies are supposed to create the endorphins for the flight or fight response, but a different recurring fear And the body's response to that is to just block everything out. That is logical at that point. You're just in fear mode.
Yeah.
And this is where the practices of meditation and mindfulness come into play, because it allows you to tap back into your body and to activate the parasympathetic system by relaxing, by being present and allowing yourself to feel what you feel, because the purpose is not for you to just ignore the sensation of stress and fear and anxiety. It's to understand where it's coming from and to allow it to pass. And it's the same thing with trauma. Our body responds to trauma in that way as well, where it holds energetically and physically the aspect. Now, trauma could be at different levels. So sometimes when you hear the word trauma, it sounds really severe, but trauma could just be something, a memory that you have disliked since you were a child, or something that you decided to change, make a decision about, but didn't benefit you throughout your life. And they're just allowing yourself to reprogram or re-educate yourself on what that means. And yeah, it takes a little bit of a process for that to happen.
Yeah, so in the health world, we trying to get people eat healthier, practicing like a good lifestyle behavior. One area that we always talk about is mindful eating, and nutrition is pretty important. So does nutrition have a role play into, how we're listening to our intuition?
Absolutely. Intuition plays a vital role in listening to our intuition. We're made up of energy. And so what fuels our body is what's going to help clear that. So if we put fresh, balanced, whole foods in our body, then our body's going to retain that energy. It'll clear all the pathways it needs to clear. It'll allow the body to function in a better way. Nutrition plus moving your body at the same time. So some sort of exercise. The more processed foods you eat, the more unnatural it is for your body to process. So you'll start to feel groggy. I mean, as you know from being a dietitian, the effects of just diet in general. So you can imagine how that would affect the mind and how that would affect the clarity of your thought process. And so what you bring into your body, not only with nutrition, but just any influence externally that you're bringing in, needs to be of a healthy level and a very clear, aligned level. Yeah,
absolutely. Wow, this is amazing. But I also feel like people sometimes, when talking about intuition or regulating or developing their intuition, it could be very confusing. And as you said, it's a process. So I felt like having someone guiding them through is really, really important. So I want to ask you, tell us the service that you provide to kind of help people, and what does a session with you look like?
Yeah, so we all start from the beginning. Everybody is a clean slate, but everyone is unique and individual. So I deal with everyone uniquely in terms of what they're dealing with and what their lifestyles are like and what their thought process is like and what their diet is like and what they're feeding themselves, not only physically, but externally, what they're listening to. All these tiny little aspects of our life that we feel that are not important actually play a really big role in how we think and how we decide to live our lives. And so the first thing would be to ask somebody what their goal is in terms of what they want to achieve. And I don't dive into the spiritual component first because it's usually the most heavy part. It's existential. And so we start with something small, let's say physical pain. And a session would be dealing with what's going on with their body physically first, as I work as a body worker as well. And so through that physical pain, that physical manifestation, I go through a process of an integrated method, which includes stuff like psychology, energy medicine, talk therapies, tapping, and some physio involved as well. And see where pinpointing exactly where the trigger is coming from in terms of their physical pain. What tends to happen is the physical pain goes away and then it starts to dissipate and other emotions start to rise. And when they rise, there's other openings of things that people want to work on. And then they dive into the realms of spirituality because they've released things that they've had in their body for years. And they want to go even deeper into that rabbit hole and explore what is potential, because that level of interconnectedness, going back to that innate disposition within ourselves, is a very strong force. It's something incomprehensible. And so we dive through those realms. So it's more of a journey. It's like a little journey that we go together in all aspects of their life as well. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Then you mentioned that like you were in the music industry before and then you were an artist. And I know you have music available on Spotify. Tell us about that.
So it's a hobby because once you're a creative, you're always a creative. It's hard not to let that go. So the genre is completely different to the type of work that I do, but I always think that balance is good. And so I channel my creativity through rock music. But funny enough, recently I've just been experimenting with sound healing as well, as I've also done sound healing and I use frequency as well during the sessions. So I've been going down that route with the creative side. So I look forward to making more music in that space, as rock, not everyone's cup of tea, but I love it.
I love your job.
Thank you. Thank
you. It sounds really fun. Thank you so much for sharing all this great knowledge with us today. And it makes total sense. And I hope everyone who's listening is start thinking about intuition and then learning about it and developing it. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you everyone for joining. Be sure to follow Hafsa at Hafsa_the_mystic_med. And I will also have all the information in the LinkedIn bio and the posts promoting this Instagram live.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.